Sometimes you gotta look deep down into your heart and deep down into your soul and just be honest with yourself, and SmackDown is being affected by two very specific things. One, the wildcard rule, because you see a bunch of guys on Raw and you're like, cool, it's the start of the wrestling week, it's nice to see them, but then you see them again on SmackDown, usually in the same roles. And two, Shane McMahon, just Shane McMahon being on Raw, being on SmackDown, being on 205 Live probably. He's probably in my life right now. If I sit down and watch Simon Miller documentary that doesn't exist, it wouldn't surprise me if Shane McMahon was playing the damn lead role. Anyway, let's put this all to bed. Let's draw a line under it, because my name is Simon Miller. This is WhatCulture Wrestling. SmackDown is over, it's done, it's finished. So let's up those damn downs. SmackDown kicked off with video packages. We had a video package for Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston, and we had a video package for Kevin Owens versus Kofi Kingston. Anyway, eventually Kevin Owens came out, he got on a microphone, told us that he wasn't responsible for Big E being attacked last week, and he probably did hurt himself when he was doing a tweet. That was kind of funny. This went on so long though, even Tom Phillips on commentary mentioned it, and eventually WWE sent Kofi Kingston out there, who proceeded to call Kevin Owens a liar around about 63,742 times. That's literally what he did. He just kept pointing, going, "You a liar! You a liar!" And Kevin Owens was like, "I'm not a liar." Didn't do that. He did rock like that. Anyway, look, they then had a match. The match was actually quite decent. There was one near fall after a swanton bomb from KO that got me. I was like, oh, he's going to win. Obviously, he didn't. Kingston hit the treble in paradise. 1, 2, 3. It's all right, to be fair. And we could have cut all the preamble beforehand and just gone straight into the match, and that would have made SmackDown feel more exciting. But either way, give it up. I do not know where this leaves Owens, though. Ever since he's come back, his whole character and his whole push has been all over the place. I mean, he's not going to Super Showdown, so maybe this was just a way to get him off TV for a while. But when he's back, please can we do a bit more with Kevin Owens? As we all know, I love him. I just don't feel like he's being used in the way that he should. We then found out it was Shane McMahon Appreciation Night. Give it a down. No, in fact, you know what? Give it 2 downs, and now just go back to the normal 1 down, because I don't want to break my system. This isn't a Kenny Omega match in the Tokyo Dome. Only joke. I mean, but what the hell? As we already mentioned, he already takes up both shows as it is, and now we have to have a whole thing appreciating him. I don't need to appreciate Shane McMahon, and he did all this while talking to Elias and Drew McIntyre, who now I feel are also being negatively impacted by hanging out with the boss's son. Must be good to be the boss's son as well, eh? Not going to explain what I mean by that. Probably no. This all tied into the 24/7 title too, and because of that, I have to very sadly give it a down. Now, I'm going to pull a bunch of segments in here, but you'll see why I'm doing it, because it started fine. R-Truth was still running around with Carmella, trying to escape Drake Maverick, who was putting wanted posters up, and sure, it was eventually running its course, but Truth is such a likable guy, I can still enjoy it. It evolved throughout the night, though, until Shane McMahon suspended the rules for the 24/7 title simply because Elias had managed to win it from R-Truth, and he wanted the Drifter in the match. So he suspended the rules. He suspended the rules. We created a 24/7 title 2 weeks ago, and then we suspended the rules. We will get there later and I'll explain the specifics, but what are we doing? This is ridiculous. Also, Shane McMahon, if you have this kind of power, why don't you just say, oh, Roman, our match is Super Showdown. If I only get a 1 count on you, I win, but you have to get a 20 count on me. What's the point of having rules? What is the point of having rules? If you watched, I don't know, the NFL, and all of a sudden someone said, oh, by the way, the Jacksonville Jaguars are here, and now they just win the game as soon as they walk onto the field, because we just decided that's what we're going to do. Everybody would say bull. That's because it's bull. Thankfully, Daniel Bryan is good. That's all I've got, but he was on the show now, so I instantly perked up. He was out there with his tag team champion partner, Recyclable Rowan. They were just running down the other teams in the division. They even told a little joke that went, knock, knock, who's there? The SmackDown Tag Team Division. The SmackDown Tag Team Division who? And then Recyclable Rowan went, exactly, and they laughed as if they were 7 years old. It was brilliant. The point of all of this was to finally start a feud with Heavy Machinery 2. You remember that. They first clashed around about 3 weeks ago, but we're only just getting to it now. And Otis and Tucker came out to say, we're going to beat you for the belts. And Daniel Bryan and Rowan like, no, you won't. And they were going to have a match, but instead they'll have a match down the line. Up. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville were then enjoying Rose's appearance on the cover of the latest edition of Muscle and Fitness Hers. In fact, they liked it so much, they went around the backstage area handing copies out. They even gave one to Ember Moon, who was reading Jekyll and Hyde. And because Sonya Deville is a heel, she just ruined the ending of that book. So what I was meant to take away from that is that random people in WWE have read the book Jekyll and Hyde. Okay. Anyway, Rose eventually then beat Carmella in a match after a Sonya Deville distraction, which is actually a really good name for a move, and somebody should steal it instantly. If you're wondering what a Sonya Deville distraction is, it is exactly how it sounds. Sonya Deville distracted Carmella, and Mandy Rose just rolled her up. You know how it is, the WWE finish. Now, you're lucky, Mandy Rose and Carmella, because you're going to get an up, because all of this was fine. I wouldn't say it was great, but it was fine. But because of what happened here, somebody else is going to get screwed later, and they're going to get it down. That's how it's working. It's called the law of diminishing returns. Either way, yes, this can have an up. Just. It was more 24/7 nonsense next, and I can't enjoy it now because I know where it's headed. But Jinder Mahal and R-Truth got into it. R-Truth managed to get the better of him, and then he ran into a photo booth, and why there was a photo booth backstage at a WWE event, I don't know. Then he got chased away. You know how it works. The classic stuff we've been doing now for the last 14 days. Who knew that Aleister Black just talking in a dark room would be one of the highlights of SmackDown 2? You know how these goes. You've seen them before. And this time he was just begging for anybody, somebody, to challenge him to a fight so he could whoop their ass. Now, like I say, I do enjoy these, but can we just get Aleister Black back on the show and start putting him in amazing matches? I really feel like that's what's missing from SmackDown right now. But give it an up. Shane McMahon Appreciation Night was an error. I don't need to see Shane McMahon on the show this much. Well, both shows, Raw and SmackDown. I don't need to see video packages dedicated to Shane McMahon, and I don't need to see Drew McIntyre and Elias just flanking him when they could be in other feuds. Down. Truth eventually interrupted this because he was trying to get away from the chasing pack and actually even beat Drake Maverick in an impromptu match. But this is where everything that I mentioned earlier came to pass. Shane was livid that his appreciation night had been interrupted, so he set Drew McIntyre and Elias on them, and eventually Elias did win the 24/7 title. McMahon suspended the rules because he wants him in a tag match later, and WWE just does this all the time. They give us rules, and then they change the rules to fit the story, which would be fine here and there, but they do it every single damn week. I will say that seeing Elias win and be that happy was great. I thought it was those kinds of moments that were going to make the championship so much fun. But like I say, it was just ruined and obliterated because of everything around it. Shane having all this power is boring, and it's a cop-out because rather than having to write interesting stories that change week to week, we just go, well, Shane's He-Man. He's got all the power, so he can get the sword and go, oh, I have the power. And then we can just do whatever we want. No, you can't. Or you can, and you do, but it doesn't make it fun. I want some fun. Now, what happened next sucked, because I actually liked everything with Bayley, Lacey Evans, and Charlotte Flair. I mean, it started with Charlotte and Lacey doing a backstage promo, but they were drinking tea. Thought it was quite entertaining. But then we did Bayley versus Evans, and honestly, I need to ask the question, what are we doing, WWE? Do you ever sit down and go through your running order and go, oh wait, we shouldn't do that finish there because we've already done that finish a couple of matches beforehand, and we want to make sure things are varied and different and keep people on their toes and keep people excited. Because Charlotte distracted the referee, which allowed Lacey Evans to surprise roll up Bayley, but this time Bayley was able to reverse that roll up and get a surprise finish of her own. And look, that's good. We are pushing Bayley as a strong champion and she wins. But when you do it like this, you negate it all because Lacey Evans now has a cop-out, which she did. She attacked Charlotte Flair afterwards because she was so mad at her. And Bayley didn't really win because it wasn't authoritative enough. It wasn't dominating enough. It was also the same finish we'd already done twice on this show, and probably the 92,622nd we'd done in 2019. If you have done a distraction finish earlier in the night, don't do another distraction finish later on, especially when it's in both women's matches, because that just highlights it even more and kind of makes me think you don't have any other ideas. We don't need to protect everyone. Lacey Evans could have lost and then attacked Charlotte, and I would have gone, oh, well, it sucks that Lacey didn't get the win, but look, she's still holding her own by going after someone that's won the Women's Championship 9 times. You keep telling me about Charlotte winning it 9 times, so why don't you use that and tie it into the story? This was a waste of my life. This was pointless. I'm going to be on my deathbed one day, and if anyone says distraction finishes, I'm just going to cry and probably, get some kind of doctor utensil. Not what they're called, but I get a doctor utensil, I'll just kill myself and finish myself off there. That was too much. I went too far. Okay, we got it out. We're done. let's just do the only thing we can do. Hopefully death is far away. Give it a damn down. Andrade and Zelina cut a promo about Finn Balor, and at least they got on the show. And thankfully, WWE also aired that promo from Finn Balor that he did a couple of weeks ago after Money in the Bank, because it's really good. I managed to see it on the website, but Finn comes across as really upset about everything that had happened at the pay-per-view, and like he's in loads of pain. So then when we come back to Andrade, and he was all like, don't worry, Finn, I'm going to come and finish you off and take your IC title. And I was like, yeah, badass. I want to see these two great professional wrestlers have a great professional wrestling match. And again, at least he was there. Sometimes he's not there at all. It was in the main event of Roman Reigns teaming with R-Truth to take on Elias and Drew McIntyre. And if it wasn't for a certain someone, who I'll talk about in a minute, and you already know who I'm referencing, this would have been, well, it would just have been a nice main event. It did some nice things, and I like nice. There's nothing wrong with being nice. So for that reason, it can get it up. I have to throw it down in there, though, because I don't want to see Shane McMahon interrupting wrestling matches anymore. I mean, here, because it's Roman Reigns and Roman Reigns' life and can see into the future, he was able to avoid Shane's tactics, and Shane ran away because he's so scared of Roman, but it just happens all the time. McMahon was doing it on Raw, he was doing it on SmackDown, he was doing it on last week's Raw, he was doing it on SmackDown. And where was The Miz? Why is The Miz now vanished? I know they had the cage match, but that's just poof, and stopped happening. Anyway, it ended when Roman speared Elias to not only get the win in this match, but then he speared him again and looked at R-Truth and said, look, you cover him, the match is over, the 24/7 rules are back in effect. He did that, meaning that Truth is that title holder once again. And this was such a lovely moment, because Roman has said time and time again, it's not really about titles or belts, it's about righting wrongs, and this was righting a wrong, and it helped everyone. Truth looked elated, Roman looked elated for Truth, and because of that, I was like, oh, two baby faces, and I love you all. The Shane McMahon issue is that he is now being used at the expense of other guys. For example, where's Shinsuke Nakamura? Where's Rusev? Where's Buddy Murphy? Where's a lot of people that's probably not even coming to my mind right now? It's because there's no time. Shane McMahon is taking up too much on Raw, and he's taking up too much on SmackDown, and taking up too much in Simon Miller the movie. Which brings us to the end, and genuinely, if we hadn't have had all those McMahon segments, this would have been a fine SmackDown. Not a great SmackDown, probably not even a good SmackDown, but one I could have sat there and enjoyed with a smile on my face. But we weren't allowed to do that because we had the exact opposite. Just pick which show you want him on, because if he features too much on Raw, and then you do that on SmackDown, you get the double effect, because of course we've already seen 3 hours on Monday night. So because of that one thing, and I've explained this before, sometimes the ups to the downs and the downs to the ups don't actually correlate, because something can be so bad or so good that it just infects my mind. That is what Shane McMahon did, and that's why this week's episode of SmackDown, it gets a down. And hilariously, I knew the SmackDown would be a difficult one this week, so I went on my Twitter and I tweeted out, look, I'm still going to do an official ups and downs for the show, but I also want to do a fan-voted one. So here we are. Have a guess what it is, and I promise you I'm not making this up. You can go look at it because it won't change that much. Up 50%, down 50%. So we're right in the middle, I tell you. If it wasn't for that person, I bet it would have got an up. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of SmackDown. And remember, I'm just one man. It's just my opinion. You don't need to get that mad. I still love you. Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE, and make sure you watch more videos here at WhatCulture Wrestling, including ups and downs for Raw, and ups or downs for AEW's Double or Nothing. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again